My name is Matthew Quirk, and this is my writer's dossier.
No writers were harmed in the production of this podcast.
So, dude, last time I asked you some questions, you were writing in the nursery, and that was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, and you moved to the garage.
Yeah.
Matthew Quirk, are you still writing in the garage? What's your writing situation like
I
up
love the garage. I love it because,
there?
if you're inside the house and you hear something, you immediately, and my wife and I have both worked from home for about, I don't know, 20 years, something ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
And, if you're in the house and you hear something, you'll be like, oh, I forgot to put away my stuff from lunch. And then you just start thinking about it and you're not, you're kind of out of your action scene. So the garage, I set it up as kind of a writing studio. It's not nice. It's unfinished. I probably mentioned this last time. And then as our daughter, she just turned 4. So we're like accumulating more stuff. And so I'm just like writing in piles of stuff. But even then, the focus of being in the garage, and I have my surfboards out there, I have my guitars out there, I put a piano out there, a little digital piano. But it's it's like a bachelor pad out there. It's great.
That is so cool.
An extremely messy,
unfinished.
bachelor pad. Yeah.
And in that garage, you are knocking out some really cool stuff. And I want to get to that. I want to let everybody know that we're on with Matthew Quirk. Some people know him as the Hour of the Assassin, like me. Or, we're going way back, Time Machine, the Night Agent, the Method, and he's working on something new as well. And Inside Threat, Matthew Quirk, thanks for joining the Writer's Dossier today. It's so good to see you again. Great to have you. You call me, and this great picture comes up of you and I in San Diego at
Oh yeah, that was a great
Bouchercon
crowd.
a few years ago.
Yeah. It's great to see
That was
it.
a great crowd. You were so cool. You were so nice and accommodating and just fun. You're bouncing around. You got this backpack on. You're seeing everybody, and I love that about you. So let me ask you a off the wall question.
Okay.
Last time we talked, you were skeptical about some things. You were skeptical about the things you see on YouTube, specifically those ads that come up. Now, that was a few years ago. We asked you about that.
Yeah.
Where do you stand on that kind of thing now with the advent of AI and customized ads just for Matthew Quirk? Are you still skeptical?
It's pretty terrifying, and I'm getting kind of like more and more anti-screen as we have a little one. And, I don't know if for other writers have the same thing, but there's a lot of like my day-to-day is struggling to think deeply. And it's kind of good to be a writer, I think, because, I notice if my attention span goes away and I can't think deeply because I can't write at all. And so I'm in kind of this fortunate position where I'll know and I have to force myself to take a long walk. I have all these internet blockers and things, but I fear for, now I'm like a middle-aged guy. So I read all these, like the kids aren't all right scare stories that, kids can't read books in their lit classes and they can't watch movies in their movie classes. But, it's a little freaky. So I love writing, and I'm so glad it kind of like plunges me into that very deep thinking space and forces me to be able to concentrate on things for long stretches of time.
Well, you do really well at concentration. I think you went to Harvard, then you wrote for The Atlantic. How disconnected do you have to be in the garage, surrounded by all your gadgets and your man cave stuff and everything? How disconnected do you have to be from the phone or the internet while you're trying to do research? You're coming up with a story idea, and I got to check out what things are like in Prague, and then you hop on a browser, and then all of a sudden you're getting all these ads. But like you mentioned ad blockers, what other tricks do you use, or what helps you focus and get that concentration that you're talking about really going to keep that story rolling along?
Yeah. And I might be a particular case where I was like incredibly distractible, had a lot of procrastination issues, but I think that's pretty common with other writers. A fellow who kind of like, he was very helpful with some of my early books with blurb, Stephen Pressfield, who wrote Gates of Fire, terrific book. He wrote a book called The War of Art, which is cool because it sort of makes fighting procrastination to this kind of like macho battle. I mean, it's really a fight. So it's an internet blocker. It's called Freedom, and you just press a button and it turns the internet off on all my devices. And my word count doubled once I started doing that. It was incredible. It was incredible.
Awesome.
And, another thing I started doing recently was just, you would use it like for billing if you were a freelancer. It's a little time tracker. Because I used to like be like, well, I'll use a stopwatch to like, if I'm going to start dilly-dallying, I'll just record it and measure everything. And basically I have to treat myself like an unruly employee, And so I got this like time tracker, and then I record, how much when I'm actually working on the book, I'll record it. And I think it doubled the amount of book work I get. It's really incredible. And we have a little one now, so I'm often tired. I often didn't sleep the night before, so anything that helps with the focus is huge. And this is one of my big tips. I do most of my writing, my thinking out on a walk away from the computer, which sort of bakes in the concentration.
Love that, folks. All right, Freedom and Time Tracker. I put it in the notes.
The one I use is called
show notes too.
Yeah, the one I use is called, and this is, I might just be an incredibly crazy person but I found this helpful. The one I use is called Toggle Track, and it's just because it's free and easy. Yeah. But the Freedom Internet Blocker was a game changer for me.
Oh, I love it. See, that is the kind of stuff that we look for, and the nuggets that we mine for all the folks out there listening to the dossier who are writers who need just an extra little push. So, man, thanks for coming on and tell us about that. Like I said, I'll look these up and put them in the show notes for everybody too. So you are knocking out some content. You're doing some serious work. I'm going to read something real quick here from the author of The Night Agent, the #1 global Netflix sensation. Comes an edge of your seat thriller about a young actress who must go undercover in a deadly world of espionage to save her best friend and herself. So this is out right now, folks. It's called The Method by Matthew Quirk. You're going to love it. It's getting great reviews. I'm just flying off the shelves. It's been available now for a few months. The Method. All right. Steer me right here, Matt. I'm thinking the show Barry, but with a girl, and it's a lot more action. It seems to be a thing about actors and spies. How did you set us right here? Tell us about The Method.
Well, so it came really from the Night Agent experience. I was able to be on set. And I saw all the training they put in. Gabe Basso, who plays Peter Sutherland on the show, he can do everything he does on the show. And he even pitches stuff. Like he was at a driving school and he was doing J turns. And I think he videoed himself doing the J turn, which is a fast 180-degree turn in reverse, for the readers, for the watchers. And it's really cool. And if you look at the show, they actually put that in. They had him do it in the show, and they had a pillar camera, so you could see it was actually Gabe driving. And the first thing I saw, it's really cool. On the Night Agent set was like a fight scene, 30 seconds of screen time. It took about 9.5 hours to shoot, and I just was blown away by everyone's hard work and everyone's training. So I got to thinking, what if you had an actress who has done all this training? She can shoot, drive, fight, although she's kind of a homebody day to day, especially these days as she gets a little older, and which was consistent with my experience. I have some friends I grew up with who became kind of actors and ballet dancers and stuff, and it's always interesting to see the juxtaposition of these incredibly glamorous roles they play, and then they're just like, all right, now we'll go get a burger and I'll sit home with my pugs, Yeah. And so that all went in the stew. But the thing that really got me was kind of at a structural craft level, like writer talk stuff. I like to have an everyman or woman, but who has special skills to borrow from Taken, because I like to have a pretty fast paced book. So, it's nice to have somebody like Anna, this actor who she can actually kick ass. The question is, can she do it in real life? And that's the whole struggle and the up and down of the book. And then the double lives of acting really spoke to me. It kind of resonated with the past espionage stuff I've done. And it's also a little bit like what I do, less cool. What I do is less cool because I'm sitting in the garage pretending to be other people all day. And sometimes I'll get lost in the part, and I'll be doing research and then like forgetting I could get arrested doing research. I think like I have some get out of jail card, but I don't. So all that went into it, and it just ended up being this like fun book. And then Anna as a character really took off and got pretty deep for me. So it was a really fun book to write.
When you were writing The Night Agent, did you, compared to the method, you had this big wedge of film time with the amazing series and everything. Did you find yourself writing those two books differently? Specifically, what I mean is when you were writing the method, did you think, oh, did you start thinking screenplay type things like, oh, this would go really good here because I know this is going to be huge? Or versus The Night Agent, you wrote a kick-ass book that became a thing.
Oh, right,
and
yeah.
then you spent all that time on set. Did you write did that affect your approach to the method?
Not really. And I've had I guess you could call it like a cinematic approach to writing for a long time. You know, when I was first trying to break in, I worked on a book for like 7 years, and I couldn't figure out how to plot it. And I got the screenwriting books, and I was like, oh God, they actually talk about how to plot a book and how to do an ending at the beginning and plot the ending.
Yeah.
And I could talk about this for hours. I love this stuff. And then the way I think of a scene, you know, kind of moment to moment in a book, I take a walk and then I just picture the scene happening. So it's all kind of like built in cinematically. I don't, yeah. And the nice thing about adaptation is I don't need to worry that, you know, in film, it'll be impossible for this twist to work because you'll see that the one person is the other person. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's say you call somebody the wolf in a book. Nobody knows what he looks like. And then, you know, like halfway through the book, you can like reveal that the wolf is, you know, Bill, the best friend, whatever. But on screen, they have to figure out how to be like, it's the same actor. We can't show him. So there's all stuff like that where I'm like so glad that it's adaptation. And most of it is how much internal stuff you can do with a book. And then I said, you know, that's kind of your problem, guys. Like, I wrote the book, and that's why, you know, have the screenwriters have their own incredible craft, and it's really interesting to see them adapt stuff.
Yeah, it is. And you spent a lot of time on set, and
A little, I mean,
my
a
wife
decent.
and I are here.
I don't want to I was on set, like, you know, I visited the first and second season. I got a little cameo, but I got to do the fun tourist thing. And those people on set are there from 6 a.m. till like midnight.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
What yeah, I was an extra in the Notebook. What season and which episode is your cameo?
I think it's season 2, episode 3. It's a very minor cameo, and I don't know if I would have wanted more because I like turn bright red when I do public speaking or I'm nervous, and I was really nervous. So yeah, there's a bar scene where the bad guys are kind of talking, and I'm in the back having a conversation with a couple other people having drinks. And it was Adam Arkin, who I love from, he was in Northern Exposure. He did all this great stuff. He's a terrific director and just a really nice guy. And I think I thought like maybe I'd be in the back of a crowd scene, you know, running from a bomb or something. Yeah. And then they were like going to put me at the bar. And I think when they saw I wasn't freaking out, they like put me a little bit more central. So it was a like nice little promotion. Yeah. And everybody at the show has treated me so well, which was a little surprising because, you know, I don't know if you hear authors talk. Sometimes they're like, oh, Hollywood, they treat us like garbage, blah, blah, blah. But the Night Agent show is just wonderful. Yeah.
I know Jack Carr had an awesome cameo in the Terminalist series when
on.
That was really cool. I would be in trouble here at Homefront Command in Northwest Ohio if I didn't say that my wife has a request for you, and she says, "Oh, you're talking to Matt?" And I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, "Oh, that's the backpack guy." And I'm like, "Yeah." And she says, "Tell him to do more Night Agent stuff."
Oh, okay.
That's from my wife. Wants more Night Agent stuff.
Because I was running around Bouchercon with my backpack.
Yeah. So how does it work with you? I know, obviously, you know, you sold your movie rights. Can you write more Night Agent books? Is that in there?
I can. Yeah. So I have the novel rights, and then there's this whole world of like Frozen rights, which it's an interesting world. But I'm pretty sure I can just go out and write a book whenever I want. It's a little tricky because I would sort of be writing in parallel with the show almost.
You'd have to work that out. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of conflict.
Yeah, I mean, it happens.
Gotta
Like, I
bring
guess,
Rose back.
yeah, like, oh, well, there's a lot of the Pete Rose people out there. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm only mainly seeing it as like a hashtag, but we'll see. And yeah, I love the world, and I had kind of my own ideas of where it'll go. So it's a trip for them to see them, like, these other people come up with their own stuff. But I thought they've done a great job, and I might pick it up after the show. I don't know. And I'm having a lot of fun with the standalones. So yeah, I never close the door.
Yeah, that's what we want to talk about. The Method film rights are out on that, so hopefully that'll turn into something. But get The Method, folks, listening out there. Matthew Quirk, The Method. This is a really cool book because, I mean, you took something that you had a personal exposure to, experience with, being around the set on the night, and you turned it into a book, and that's really cool because that's you took something real and it's fresh. So folks, the name of the book is The Method. We got to get that. Dude, where can we find you? I know everyone needs to bookmark MatthewQuirk.com. That's done. Where else can we get to know you at?
I would go to the website and then sign up for the newsletter because I do free book giveaways all the time. And then I'm on like Twitter, mquirk, X Quirk, Instagram and Facebook, Matthew Quirk author. That's mainly where I do my stuff. I set up a little TikTok account, but it was just really cool myself. It's all dance numbers.
Paging
I just put the video
TikTokers out there.
Yeah, it terrified. I see a kid
it.
on TikTok and I'm terrified. But I put my videos up.
Oh man, Matthew Quirk in his garage making TikTok videos. I love it. Dude, thanks so much for taking time today to join us here on this commute style podcast with Matthew Quirk. Folks, everyone get out there to MatthewQuirk.com. Go to wherever you get books, get The Method. And brother, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
You too. Yeah, great to see you. Take care.
All right. Bye, everybody. The Dossier Podcast is a production of The Idea Academy.